I will destroy you with my turbo glove, the ultimate weapon against the robot threat. But to be a true hero, you'll have to save your girlfriend.
Hey, what's that in your hand?
It's a comic book.
What's it about?
It's about Turbo Rider.
That's rad.
Turbo Kid was a 2015 action film that was directed by a trio of French-Canadian directors. I'm pretty sure they're French-Canadian. And it was based on a short film that they did a few years earlier. It stars relative newcomers Lawrence LaBeouf and Monroe Chambers. It took me a minute to remember that. And it also has Michael Ironside in it. You can tell by the name there's a little bit of a weird hitch here. But yeah, it's about apocalypse, dystopic stuff, and the world's over, there's no water, there's no resources, and it's just about this kid who forages around. Great setup. And watching this now, in hindsight, I realized that there's like similar scenes they had in this movie that they did in the 2015 Star Wars movie. Just an observation. Monroe Chambers plays the kid, and he's just trying to survive in this wasteland, and he doesn't have any parents, and then one day he meets this girl named Apple, and she's played by Lawrence LaBeouf, and they're basically on the run from Michael Ironside, who's the big bad guy, and he wants to do all the big evil things. This is a tribute movie that's done really well. There's a lot of homage and a lot of nostalgia in it, but I like it. I like the way it's done in this movie because it all services the story, and at its core it has really well developed and likable characters, and that's the through line. That's why I like the movie. That's why I have seen it, I think, 3 times now, and it's been a while since I watched it, but the most recent time I rewatched it just for this review. Everyone is good in it, and it's just that's the attachment of it. Is I really like the kid, I really like Apple, I really like seeing what they're gonna do and what happens next for them. And then Michael Ironside is just classic as a villain. I love him and the movies he did with Paul Verhoeven in the 80s, and it's just so cool to see him as be this big overarching big evil of the movie. Very cool. Like I said, it has a lot of influences that it wears on its sleeve very clearly. It's a lot like Mad Max. It's like Mad Max on BMX bikes is a nice easy sentence to say about the movie. But yeah, there's tributes to Soylent Green and Terminator and just everything that was big in the 70s and 80s in the sci-fi world. There's a nod to it here, and it doesn't get overbearing because even if that stuff means nothing to you, you can still latch on to the main characters and the story that the movie's telling. So that's how you do a good nostalgia trip. Yeah, this movie it nails everything. It's not like something like Sharknado, which is trying so hard to be bad that it's not a good movie, and where something like this, it's just trying to be a good movie, but there's stuff that happens in it that's super over the top and super corny, but it's all done well, and it's done with this sense of earnestness and I don't know. There's different ways to handle that type of material. This film handles it properly, and it doesn't feel oh, 1980s, you'll like this because it was the 80s. You'll like this because of comic books. You'll like this because of Terminator. It's good. It's just a good story told in a good manner. Very bare bones. And then, and it goes, I guess the more harder to adapt part of it is that it is a tribute to really trashy movies. So it gets really violent, obscenely violent. You can tell that they had a blast with these practical effects on set, because there's just goo and stuff spraying everywhere, and it's a really gross movie. But it's also very sweet. I liked it a lot. Apple was an awesome thing to hinge on to. Like I said, the kid is a good surrogate character that is just okay, he's everyman hero, and then Apple's oh man, I want to follow this girl and see what she does and what happens to her, and I hope she's okay. Turbo Kid, great movie. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. It's been on Netflix for a few years now, and this was actually a film that kind of inspired me to want to start this series, because this is the definitive straight-to-tape movie, because I had no idea it existed until I just saw it on Netflix one day, and I was like, oh, that looks like something I'd watch. And it was, and I've seen it more than once, and it's great. So yeah, Turbo Kid, good movie. Check it out.
been more like the real Turbo Rider.
But you could totally be Turbo Kid.
This has been Roy on Celluloid, on Turbo Kid, on Straight to Tape, on Netflix, on movies, on everything, all the time. Oh, thanks for watching, by the way.